Prime Minister Skerrit appeals to Dominicans to be ambassadors for the country as 20 are honored for their service. Community spirit alive and well on the West Coast, while Independence 2016 receives a thumbs up. And the senseless killing of one 22-year-old sends his family on a search for answers. I am Iduna John Baptist with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. First up, Prime Minister Skerrit has urged every Dominican to see themselves as ambassadors for the country. That appeal was part of the Prime Minister's special call to Dominicans on the 3rd of November. The Prime Minister noted that what we say about Dominica is internalized and treated as gospel by many, and therefore we ought to be constructive in promoting the country.
Nation building requires everyone to get involved. In making reference to this year's theme, it is important that each of us reflect on whether we are fulfilling our commitment to our country. We may need to do some introspection and ask ourselves how we can strengthen our commitment to nation building. We should examine the quality of our relationships with each other and how those relationships bind us in a beneficial national effort. I therefore reiterate the call for us to unite in the interest of nation building. Let us put country first and commit to working together to achieve the development and progress that we all want for this beautiful country of ours.
The Prime Minister said after 1 year of attending to the needs of those affected by Tropical Storm Erika, the country now faces the future with confidence. He mentioned the provision of new homes for Jubic families, which has raised their standard of living. Mr. Skerrit also made reference to ongoing work on a resettlement community for Petit Savan families affected by Tropical Storm Erika.
Work is proceeding on the resettlement program for the community of Petit Savan, which is being located on land acquired by the government and Bellevue Shopping. The construction of 44 petrol castles there are well underway. Additionally, we have also entered into an agreement to construct a modern community in that area. This will comprise 316 residential homes, a multi-purpose community center, a market, and 26 commercial units. These commercial units will provide opportunities for small businesses such as barber shops, restaurants, grocery shops, and small boutiques. This development will be financed with funds from the Citizenship by Investment program.
Ambassador to the OECS and CARICOM, His Excellency Felix Gregoire, has called for Dominicans to push an optimistic picture of the nation.
His Excellency spoke to Channel 5 News on November 3rd when Dominica celebrated 38 years of political independence from Britain.
We need to see ourselves as Dominicans. And if we are Dominicans, we have to project a positive image of Dominica at all times. We may have our differences, disagreements. No problem with that. But if you're going out to project an image of your country, you have to be positive. Now, if we do that, if we start with that, everything else will fall into place, because a number of things, the foundation is set. You know, we have good systems in place. We have people, trained people, skilled people who can carry the message and do the work. So basically, a change of attitude will help us going forward.
Yeah. Would you like to see greater acceleration in terms of our free movement issues this year as well?
Definitely. At the CARICOM level, we want to see the disappearance of categories. Whether you're a university graduate, whether you are an artist, whether you are a professional, that shouldn't matter. Once you're a CARICOM citizen, you should travel. Plumbers, carpenters, farmers should travel, just like we do in the OECS. That is what we're looking at the CARICOM level.
19 Dominicans and 1 Barbadian were honored on that day for their service to the country and the region. Receiving the Cicero Award of Honor, Sir Hilary Beckles for Education, Dr. Kevin Ferrara, Medicine, Ambassador Julius Timothy, Politics and Business, His Excellency Erwin LaRocque, Secretary General of CARICOM for Public Service, Jennifer Astafan for Public Service, and Cecil Shillingford for Disaster Management. Receiving the Meritorious Service Award were Mrs. Madura Walter for Education and Community Service, Margaret John Baptist for Public Service, Christopher Paquette for Business and Religion, Paul Alexander for Community Service and Culture. That award was received on his behalf. Dr. John Toussaint, Agriculture and Business, Charles Worty, also for Agriculture, Father Michael Favalier and Father Jacob Etienne Gist for Religion, Glenda Bertrand, Early Childhood Education. Delvin Esprit received the Service Medal of Honor for Sports. Long Service Award recipients were Josephine John Lewis for Nursing, Christiane Bully, Community Service, Althea Phillip for Nursing, and Cyrus Edwards for Sports.
Meantime, Channel 5 News had the privilege of speaking briefly with some of this year's recipients of the Independence Day Award.
To be honest, I think it's deserved. I have contributed a lot over the last 40 years to the services of the health services of this country, and I think it's it's timely recognition of my services.
Certainly your name is a household one in Dominica, I can safely say that, and probably further afield as well. What are your thoughts 38 years on in terms of independence, 38 years in independence, and the issue of women's reproductive health and so on? How do you see that having evolved over the years? Where are we now, 38 years after independence?
I think we are comparable to anywhere else in the Eastern Caribbean or even in the larger countries. Our main problem here is obviously finance, health financing, to provide the equipment and necessary facilities to bring the services one step higher.
Delvin Esprit, congratulations to you, sir. You've made a tremendous contribution to sports, and you're still pretty young, I might add. Your reaction to being honored in this way today?
Well, it's a very appreciative thing, Joel, and I can tell you I've been involved in sports for a number of years, and at all levels, Domino's cricket, football at all levels. I've played sports for Dominica for a number of years. I organize competitions, as you know, and I've won a number of championships in the school, over 20 of them. So there's no news thing for me. What I think and so on is that I think that will motivate the athletes, especially sportsmen and so on, at least to receive a award. As you know, sports is not really on the high in Dominica, so I think that will be a motivation for them.
But Delvin, you are a guy known for your no-nonsense comments and unfiltered comments sometimes about sports and where you'd like to see it. Very serious when you speak on those issues. Are you surprised that you were honored in this way?
No, well, I'm not surprised because if I've been talking about the associations and the things and the issues that go on in sports and I've been honored, it does show that I'm saying the right thing and I'm doing the right thing. So I just think I just have to continue doing what I have to do. If there's issues to talk about the issues. You see, you don't hide when you're talking about sports because sports is really a global thing. And when there's issues affecting sports, there's no way sports can grow. So what I'm trying to do is take out the ease of the issues that are affecting sports and let sports move on in Dominica because I think we still have some talented young boys and girls that can do well.
38 years of independence, what do we do for the next 30 years or so to keep us on the right path as far as sports is concerned, in your view?
Well, basically, we just have to continue doing what we have to do. I think the sporting organization and so on definitely have to get their act together, especially the sporting organization in Dominica. They definitely have to get their act together, help the sportsmen, motivate the sportsmen, give incentives when they can, and make sure that the sports is organized and run properly.
I'm extremely happy because as a young teacher, I used to say, and in my community, I used to say, well, there's nothing you get, at the end of it. Yes, you love your job, but at the end of it, sometimes you look for maybe something, maybe from the community or something, and you don't. I never dreamt that today I would receive a national award, and that makes me feel good. I praise God for that. I want to also praise the government of Dominica for bestowing the award on me. I'm very grateful.
Any word to the younger generation of early educators, teachers?
Well, my word to them, my advice to them is to remain focused, because I remember one early child educator telling me that as soon as we leave, that it is going to be the end. Because for you to really be in that business, you have to have a lot of passion. So my word to them is to be passionate about early child education and to love it and don't do it for the money.
Former public servant Alberta John Baptist has been in retirement for 18 years. She had some advice for the younger generation on work ethics.
I must say, few, I don't know, as far as I see, few people have the kind of ethics we had from long ago. We worked hard. A lot of us worked hard. And the work, 3 people are doing now. One person used to do that. But we didn't get a lot of money, but we worked, we enjoyed coming to work. And you have to work, you work not for money, but you work to the glory of God. Remember, He's the ultimate boss.
In more news, community spirit seems to be alive and well in villages on the West. That's the assessment of District Development Officer Steve Joseph from his survey of Community Day of Service along the West. Joseph told the Marpin News team covering community service projects on Friday he was impressed with the show of volunteerism in the Western District.
You can see that there is still a very high sense of community spirit and participation. People are involved in not just the approved projects, but they're involved in beautification, in cleaning. So this is a formidable practice and tradition that we have in Dominica. That is almost unique to Dominica in the region.
Joseph does not agree that the spirit of Kudme is dead, although he noted it needs improvement.
I think while there is room for many more people to be patriotic and to not even wait on a day like this to contribute to their own surroundings. People live in communities and sometimes they expect somebody else to come and clean in front of their doors. But many young people that I've come across with spades and shovels and barrows doing their bit, it means that this sense of Kudme is still alive. We cannot be too complacent or satisfied. We have to continue to promote that Dominica needs a sense of volunteerism. You cannot pay for everything. People must be willing to help themselves, and the state and other institutions will meet you halfway. But I don't think the spirit of volunteerism is dead. It might be needing of a boost, especially to ensure that generations to come see the value in giving and not expecting back.
The Cultural Division is giving Dominica's Independence Season 2016 a thumbs up. This year's cultural celebrations run from 17th September to 4th November, and Cultural Projects Officer Gregory Rabes says the participation and support by Dominicans was admirable.
This year's festivities went actually very well. Of course, you will recall that last year some of the events had to be postponed, so I guess in anticipation of some of the events coming back on board, people were expecting good things and participation. This year, some of the highlights in terms of the feedback, right? There was a noticeable strong participation of children and young people in the cultural competitions. As a matter of fact, that was the dominant feature of this year's competitions, which goes to show that the continuity of the tradition definitely rests squarely on the shoulders of the young people, and they're taking up the mantle.
Towards the climax of the season, a trough system affected the island, and the rain, thunder and lightning associated with this weather system caused the cancellation of the main cultural event.
The cultural gala, regrettably had to be cancelled. It had started, but then the heavens just opened up. But we were able to award the key people like Robelin Walter, who received the Lifetime Achievement Award for her work in promotion of ballet, the ballet tradition. Robelin Walter is from Paybush. We issued the E.O. Leblanc Trophy to the Goodwill Secondary School, and the Goodwill Secondary School over the years have been very consistent in their participation in cultural competitions and also in cultural programs throughout the year. Of course, the Young Artist Award went to Nisha Prosper, and that award goes to the individual who participates in the most categories in the cultural competitions this year.
Dominica's 38th anniversary of independence celebrations were held under the theme, Strengthening Our Commitment to Nation Building. You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, police news from the holiday weekend, sports and the weather. Stay with us. Welcome back. One family is trying to come to terms with what they describe as the senseless killing of their son as police search for his killer and a motive for his death. Kishroy Abraham was at Point Michelle when he was stabbed in his neck about 4:15 a.m. on the 5th of November. Police say he was transported to the Princess Margaret Hospital in an unconscious state. Why so soon, ask members of his band. My cousin suffered, fought for his life innocently. The way you were taken away from us alone is enough to kill me. Some of the Facebook posts about his death. 22-year-old Kishroy was a keyboardist for the Legacy Band. His mother, Joanne George, says music was his passion. Kishroy was her first son.
He makes his own tune on the computer. Reserve guy. From work to home on his computer. You don't see that boy on the road? The whole community is sick. Everybody crying. Everybody crying. This morning I went by Cool, where you working? Everybody crying.
George told Channel 5 News the police have her son's shoes he wore at the time of the incident and his cell phone as evidence.
We haven't been nowhere for the fest. So he just let them go and pull up, you know. Let them go downtown. He and his brother went down.
So he's not normally a person who goes out?
No, unless he have to play with his band or his friends, you know. It's my heartbeat. And I know I'm going to miss him. This is why I don't interfere with people. I don't know why the boy chose to just kill my son like that.
88-year-old Veronica Daniel, another elderly woman, has been reported missing. It was reported that the elderly woman of Taru disappeared between 31st October and November 1st. Police Public Relations Officer Pelham John Baptist said Daniel was last seen at a residence shared with her daughter, Haima Daniel, on Monday. Daniel is 5 feet 7 inches tall, dark in complexion, and has gray hair. She was last seen wearing a black and white dress. Anyone with information which can assist the police in locating the missing woman is asked to call the CID at 266-5164, 266-5165, 266-5119, or Crime Stoppers Dominica at 1-800-8477. Meantime, the Deputy Police Chief is assuring the public that numerous missing persons reports are being pursued by investigators.
There have been some reports of missing persons. The police has responded to those reports. The police has been out working assiduously to ensure that all the necessary investigations are conducted into those matters. It is rather unfortunate that in some of the instances the persons are still missing, but the police have been relentless in their effort at trying to identify the whereabouts of those persons and the reasons behind it. But investigations are, in fact, continuing in these matters.
The family of a Vekas man whose body was washed up on the banks of the Roseau River is seeking closure about his death. 79-year-old Lawrence Joseph disappeared from his family's home at Bath Estate for 11 days. The report made to the police indicated that he left the house on October 22 and was last seen at Louisville on that date about 10 p.m. Police confirmed that a partly decomposed body found in the Roseau River Saturday afternoon was identified as Joseph by his relatives. And the band competition segment of the 5th annual Kada Slipso show will take place this Saturday. The competition was forced to end abruptly following power failure associated with heavy showers last Wednesday night at the Pottersville Savannah. Reigning champion Anton White Ferry Joseph has copped the Kada Slipso King title yet again, making it 3 years in a row. A venue has not yet been confirmed. However, organizer of the show, the National Cooperative Credit Union, apologizes for any inconvenience caused. That's news. Andrea Louis has your sports highlights.
The players of the Kelvadaru Hurricanes basketball team and the St. Joseph Exodus football team are mourning the death of their coach and manager, Wilson Lando, who passed away suddenly over the weekend. Wilson was described as a very good role model for the players of his team. Marpin Sports spoke to Jerry Wright of the Hurricanes basketball team.
Man, it's heartbreaking, and also I think our whole team trying to absorb the loss, but it's hard. Yeah, and I don't know how we going to try to make up for the lost time, but right now we're just trying to come together and see how we can put something or heart go out to the family. Right now we know it's really tough, and I mean the way that is going. I mean he went for some time and we didn't even know that he passed. You know, Mr. Lando was when it comes to the sports, he had his 100. He was bringing out his 100 to it. Doesn't matter if it was basketball or football. Yeah, he was bringing 100, and he wasn't so much out with everybody, but he was with the people when he have to be.
Channel 5 Sports also spoke to Delbert Daly, captain of the Exodus football team.
It's very painful for us at the club and also in St. Joseph. You know, yesterday when we heard the news, you know, it was really hard accepting, you know, but when there's life, wherever there's life, there's also death. It's just that we sometimes we don't know how to accept death. But Wilson was a key member at the club, Exodus Club, you know, playing the role as managing. And he was a positive guy, you know, towards the community. You wouldn't find Wilson in any negative things, you know, always positive, willing to help whatever sport he can, you know, helping with the youth, cultural, you know, sporting-wise, anything, you know.
On to cricket, 3 players, middle-order batsman Marlon Samuel and Darren Bravo, and all-rounder and captain of the T20 team, Carlos Brathwaite, have declined the retainer contract offered by the West Indies Cricket Board of Control. Both Darren and Marlon are senior members of the team, and no reason was given by these players why they turned down the contract. The contract ranges for the men between US $100,000 to US $150,000, and for the women from US $12,000 to US $30,000. There are 12 contracted men players and 15 contracted women players. The full lists are men: Davendra Bishu, Jermaine Blackwood, Craig Brathwaite, Roston Chase, Miguel Cummings, Shane Dorridge, Shannon Gabriel, Jason Holder, Shay Hope, Leon Johnson, Alzari Joseph, and Jomel Warrican. Women: Marissa Aguilera, Shermaine Campbell, Shamilia Connell, Brittany Cooper, Chanel Daly, Deandra Doughton, Afi Fletcher, Kissia Knight, Kishona Knight, Haley Matthews, Anissa Mohammed, Shaquana Quintin, Shakira Selman, Tremaine Smart, and Stephanie Taylor. Still in cricket, South Africa defeated Australia by 177 runs on the final day of the first test match on the Walker ground in Perth to lead the 3-match series by 1-0. Scores: South Africa 242 all out, Quinton de Kock 84 runs, and 540 for 8 wickets declared. JP Duminy 141, Dean Elgar 127, Vernon Philander 74, and de Kock 64. Australia 244 all out, David Warner 97, and Sean Marsh 64, and 361 in their second innings, Kawaja 97 and Peter Neville 60 not out. The second test match will be played on Saturday in Hobart. And finally, West Indies opening batsman and vice-captain Craig Brathwaite steered the Caribbean side to a 5-wicket victory on the final day of the third and final test match against Pakistan. His unbeaten knocks of 142 not out in the first innings and 60 not out in the second innings made him the first West Indian batsman to carry his bat in both innings. It was the West Indies' first test victory overseas against a higher-ranking team in over 10 years. Needing to score 154 runs for victory in the second innings, West Indies was at one stage 29 for no wickets, but quickly slumped to 65 for 5 wickets when Shane Dorridge joined Brathwaite, and they both batted to the end with an unbeaten stand of 85. Scores in the match: Pakistan 281, Aslam 74, Mishbah 53 and Yunis Khan 51. Bowling for the West Indies: Davendra Bishu 4 wickets for 77 runs and Shannon Gabriel 3 wickets for 67 runs. And 208, Ali 91. Captain Jason Holder bowled his best spell of his life, 5 wickets for 30 runs and Bishu 3 wickets for 46. West Indies 337, Craig Brathwaite 142 not out, Royston Chase 50 and Shane Dorridge 47 and 154 for 5 wickets, Brathwaite 60 not out and Dorridge 60 not out. Pakistan won the 3-match series by 2-1 and also won all the 3 T20s and 50-over matches played.
The weather forecast is next.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock-Correa. We go straight into some early infrared satellite imagery. And what we see is this area of convection here associated with a trough system. And what we also see is this other area of convection here associated with a low-level trough just southeast of the islands, and this is expected to affect weather conditions for us by midweek. We also observe this area of relatively dry atmosphere across Dominica and the rest of the islands of the central portion of the Les Antilles, which resulted in the fairly partly cloudy skies we experienced today. We move on now to some earlier visible satellite imagery, and what it showed is just a few low-level clouds which traversed across the central portion of the Les Antilles. Earlier radar imagery indicated just a few isolated showers across the Lesser Antilles this afternoon. The weather tonight is expected to be fairly partly cloudy with a few brief showers, and these conditions will persist into tomorrow with maximum temperatures expected to peak up to 31 degrees Celsius. The marine forecast tomorrow, well, sea conditions will be slight to moderate, and waves are expected to be up to 5 feet. Let's take a look now at the weather for the next 3 days. Well, tomorrow, Tuesday, as I said, beautiful weather expected. Fairly partly cloudy skies with a few brief showers. However, by Wednesday, an increasing cloudiness with some showers and possible isolated thunderstorms is expected. And these conditions will persist into Thursday, and that is due to the low-level trough, which I mentioned earlier. Let's take a look now at the weather tomorrow for the rest of the Caribbean. Well, some cloudy skies with some thunderstorm activity expected for the northern and southern portion of the Les Antilles. Meanwhile, fairly partly cloudy skies are expected for the central portion of the islands. Let's move on now to the international city forecast. Well, sunny skies are expected for both New York and Beijing. Partly cloudy skies for Miami. The city of London may very well experience some cloudy skies with some rain and some overcast skies with some thunderstorm activity expected for the city of Caracas. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:05 a.m. and will set at 5:34 p.m. We are still in the hurricane season. To keep abreast with your weather information, you could always visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. Prime Minister Skerrit appeals to Dominicans to be ambassadors for the country as 20 are honored for their service. Community spirit alive and well on the West Coast, while Independence 2016 receives a thumbs up. And the senseless killing of one 22-year-old sends his family on a search for answers. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNewsNov7th2k16. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Idona John Baptist, and to all our viewers around the world, thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.